Why there is an urgent need to create awareness amongst communities can be seen from this slide. Because of the activism, the pressure that we've put upon the mines, the National Nuclear Regulator directed them to put up warning signs. This was put up at Donaldson Dam, one of the radiological hotspot areas. You notice that they are warned not to swim, not to wash their clothes, no irrigation, no watering of the cattle and so forth. And a day later, and to today, they still play and swim in the overflow of the Donaldson Dam. Cattle are being watered there, and just adjacent to that, there's quite a large irrigation farm. So that is why there is need for workshops and creation of awareness amongst communities. This will tie in with the previous presentation where it shows your costs to communities and also to the environment. The green and the black line are the lines to do with mining, the expenditure of mining, in other words the cost to the mines to put up infrastructure and so forth. The true costs to communities and to the environment only become manifest once the mines have closed and overseas shareholders have taken their profits. Then only do we see the costs to communities and the environment. That green line is the cost to communities and to the environment. It only manifests after mine closure. I wish also, this is almost the last slide, just to notice that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission concluded that the blueprint for Grand Apartheid was not an Afrikaner state innovation. It originated with the mines, with their single-sex hostels, the expropriation of land, forced labour, low wages, and that basically provided the blueprint for apartheid. Anglo-American, one of the main companies that externalized their costs, had at least the noble admission that it is unacceptable for mining companies when they move on to leave gaping holes in the ground, polluted rivers and unenriched and disrupted communities. Regrettably, this is still taking place. Now, so that I don't end on a negative note, I may mention to you I've been a sole activist within the West Rand and Far West Rand. I do not live there, I live in Sandton, but because of my interest in social and environmental justice, I took up the plight of the people. It took me 10 years, it's almost a decade, in which I have not gone to court. I've used Section 31 of the National Environmental Management Act, which states that you may truthfully, honestly and in good faith disclose any environmental threat or perceived environmental threat to the parliamentary portfolio committees, to the Director Generals, to the Human Rights Commission, to the Public Protector and to one or more of the news media. It has proved to be of very great benefit to the news media. I regularly whistleblow. I whistleblow, for example, to the international and national news media. I have news reports which state it would perhaps be this high, and this clearly shows that it had had an impact. Where government fails to enforce by naming and shaming multinational mining companies, their shareholders do take note. And even if government does then not put regulations upon them, their shareholders do. And in this case, it has resulted then in a paradigm shift in 120 years of non-internalized negative externalities. Because after 120 years, at last, government has now called upon the mines to remediate the 120 years of negative impacts. The polluter pays principle, historic retrospective application as well as current application of the polluter pays principle are now being enforced. They also have now appointed a team of experts. These experts have identified the radiological hotspots or priority areas, and we are in the process now of starting with the public participation process in order to inform communities to raise awareness so that communities can decide what they want from the land that the mines have destroyed over 120 years. So I think at this moment it has been perhaps a little bit of a success that inspires hope. The fact is too that with the acid mine drainage, you may have read in the newspapers that we've also taken it to high level. On Thursday, a directive was issued against the mines that they must, before the 21st of October, start to treat the water to potable usage, pay compensations to affected communities, and also rehabilitate the Tweeloopie spread and affected areas. So whistleblowing definitely has a success. This is just the end. Unfortunately, the risks or hazards will not disappear, as you will notice there. It will remain ad infinitum, so there is need for whistleblowing and activism also